trade up and pick him up. There's a less risk. The money's much lower as far as the guaranteed, contracts with the rookie salaries and all that stuff. So,
Well, there's one guy I think is going to drop in the draft because people don't know how to use him because he's either undersized or he's too big. Is Rashawn Gary?
Rashawn Gary's tape is so underwhelming for a guy with that much talent. 10 sacks in 3 years screams overhyped. If you can't move, if you can't beat individuals in college consistently enough to pop on film the way the rest of these guys have, don't tell me you're doing it against the best offensive lineman to play the game in the world. I think he's way overhyped, and he's a guy that's not even on my board unless he's drops it late in the second round or something, where you're really just it's a luxury pick at that point. I think I turn on the tape, I'm underwhelmed, Dave.
To me, he was a product of players around him. Last year he had Maurice Hurst. This year he had Devin Bush. You had Chase Winovich. There's plenty of players around him that produce. And now that these players are going to be gone next year, you're going to see him old.
Yeah. Okay.
That's my thing.
That's absolutely true. Now, Dave, we got 13 and a half minutes left here. And since we're talking the draft, here's a scenario that came up, and it's going to bring me into this Twitter beef I had today. So this guy tweets out about the 05 draft and Brett Favre, and then everybody in Green Bay was sick of him, and that's so much so that when Rodgers fell, that's why they picked him in the first round, and Rodgers has embarked in controversy over the last few years and has gotten his coach fired, and that this is the perfect opportunity with 2 first-round picks to go and take a first-round quarterback. And I kind of responded with basically, no, and that's got to be one of the dumbest tweets I ever heard lately, because it's not the same. And Brett Favre was retired, had almost retired, 2 or 3 times since at that point.
Yeah, that was his second or third time.
So it was like it had nothing to do with this controversy, and this whole idea that Rodgers is embarked in controversy. Yeah, only on the national shows because they consistently just want to run hatred against him and won't talk to anybody that likes him.
Rodgers even said it perfectly. It's only the same 2 people going after, or 3. Right. It's Finley, it's Jennings, and Cohen.
So basically, now I can't remember the guy's name, but he's a writer, lives in Green Bay.
I remember his name.
What's his name?
Mike Clemens.
That's right, Mike Clemens. And he gets on there and is telling me to chill out. Like, they didn't have enough time to write a book. And I don't even know what he's talking about or referring to. Like, his tweet didn't even make sense. And then he's telling me to get off Twitter. And it's like, who is this dude? Like, this is Twitter. This is where opinions live, dude. And,
he's a journalist. I just can't believe he can't take that, and then he blocks you of all things.
Then he tweets out that, like, I'm the reason that he's not on Twitter much. People like me aren't the reason. And that next time I should have more content in my tweets and use less emojis. And then does like this cute little tweet, bye-bye. Then the little weasel blocks me and mutes me because he clearly doesn't belong on Twitter. And I'm sorry, man, but he just, you know what, dude? I don't even know what else to say. Like, it's thin-skinned buttheads like that.
And that's the same guy that wrote stuff about Rodgers saying thin-skinned too.
Yeah.
And he blocks you. I've read a couple of his things, and he's just he contradicts a lot of his stuff. He's kind of like Finley. He'll get on Rodgers for like a whole year, and then Rodgers will have an amazing game, and then he'll just completely ignore everything he said.
Yeah, and so what his name is what? Mike Clemens?
Mike Clemens.
Mike Clemens.
You lose.
You're the loser of the day. I'm sorry, buddy. You just epic fail on Twitter. Stay off Twitter. You're an older guy. You might give yourself a heart attack because you clearly can't handle other people's opinions. And furthermore,
at least you got him to block you. I found out HaHa Clinton Dix blocked me.
HaHa Clinton Dix? Here's the thing
Yeah,
about
I was kept ragging and why can't he cover things? And it was like even wet paper bag meme and stuff like that, and he blocked me.
wow. See, I don't know. Mike Daniels blocked me a couple of years ago, and I didn't even know it until I went to tweet him this year, tell him good job, and it told me he blocked me. I had to go back, and it was because he had a game that year that he was doing all that barking, talking about how tough they were going to be, and he did and all this tough guy stuff, which I like Mike Daniels. But the first couple of games, he was getting run over like a hot knife through butter, and I tweeted
Yeah, I
at him
remember that
so
season.
much, and then he blocked me for it. And it's like, dude, really? You're like 330 pounds. I'm 5'8", 160 pounds. Like, don't be intimidated by my words. What's wrong with you people?
Well, I think that was a little younger too. Now he doesn't do stuff like that.
Oh, I just couldn't believe it. And he's one of my favorite players, honestly. But I was just, it was the truth. Like, dude, don't bark
So
and bark.
that's one of my bonus questions I got for you.
What is it?
Do you think if they take a guy like Oliver, or say if the Packers pull a miracle and trade up 30 and 12 to get up to 3 or 2 and take Quentin Williams,
Then what?
then Daniels gets let go next year.
I don't think Daniels is coming back next year anyway.
His play has declined a lot.
Well, he's going to be 31, and they always let go of the player a year early rather than a year too late. And defensive linemen are easily replaced, especially in a draft like
But
this.
The emergence of Clark is kind of pushed him aside.
Look, Daniels is if Montavious Adams and Zadarius Smith and Lancaster and Lowry show any ability to play, and be solid, and you've got Clark and Clark there already. They already play with two down defensive linemen most of the time anyway. So Daniels becomes expendable. Excuse me. And if they draft Oliver, you can almost just punch his ticket out of town, because then you've got Smith, Oliver, Clark as your 4, and then all those other guys can just come in and spell. There's so many things you can do then if you take Oliver. You don't need to, and Daniels is going to cost a lot of money. He's going to want a lot of money to come back, and they're not necessarily going to have it if you want to keep, Aaron Jones. If you know what I mean, like there's other guys.
You got Bakhtiari. He's a biggie.
Right. There's other guys that you have to plan on, which a lot of times I know as Packer fans, it took me a long time to understand this. You always have to plan and keep a healthy cap so that you don't end up not being able to keep the player you really want to keep. That's when your organization is screwed up, where players you clearly know you want to keep, i.e. the Bears and Amos. I don't give a crap what Bears fans say or how great they think Pace is. Pace is on a running clock right now. They wanted to keep Amos, and they couldn't afford him, and that's why he left. And that's when they're a mess.
Actually, they could afford him, but they passed on him.
No, they couldn't.
They went back and opened up another $12 million from Mac's contract to give it to him as a bonus.
Right.
They restructured it.
But what I'm saying is that they're looking at it just like any good GM would. I don't know, that sounds funny. He's looking at they wanted to keep him, but if they would have paid him that, there's too many other guys. They haven't paid Kyle Long yet. They, those contracts that they got last year of Fuller,
they extended him.
Fuller. They signed Fuller, Hicks. They've got Leonard Floyd coming up. So Then they had the big, huge cap hit. That cap hit hasn't even started to start to take its toll on their cap yet. As far as
Allen Robinson is a huge hit right here.
Allen Robinson. So there's a lot. They wanted to keep him, Dave, but even though they tried to move money around, they made that offer, but they made that offer knowing that was going to be a short-term solution, that was going to put him in cap hell later. And so at the end of the day, they made the choice to let him walk, but they really didn't want to. And they can say whatever they want. You turn on the tape.
Killing him. They let him walk too.
Right? Yeah, but you turn on the tape of Amos, and like we said the other day, he doesn't have interceptions, and he doesn't have a lot of turnovers. But that's because they don't want to throw the ball at him. Well, he does his job, so the guys aren't open.
Yep.
And I'll take that as a secondary player over 12 interceptions and an 80% completion on those other plays that he doesn't make interceptions.
Oh, you
Demarius
mean
Randall.
Clinton?
No, Clinton Dix wasn't even sniffing those kind of stats.
No. That's what I'm saying though. Is he had 3 interceptions, but the thing is, every other play though, he'd give up touchdowns on crossing areas.
Right. And do you think they draft a running back this year or a receiver in the top
There's
4
a guy
rounds?
I want personally in the 4th or 5th round, or possibly even 3rd if the running backs start going.
Who's that?
Benny Snell out of Kentucky.
I see a lot of people giving him to the Packers in the 3rd or 4th round in their mocks. A lot of people.
He is
Dave.
a complete back.
What do you feel about the Montgomery kid, the big back? Because he's different body type than any of the other guys we've got.
He kind of reminds me of a Tyrone Wheatley size.
Right. You know who he kind of reminds me of from former Packerland? Dorsey Levens.
Who?
Dorsey Levens.
Oh,
that
Dorsey.
Yeah, he big dude with nimble feet and isn't a great pass catcher, but can be utilized in the screen game. He showed enough, that he can. But he's a big guy. But you look at his feet; he's got some good feet, man.
Yeah, and that's the thing. All these running backs I see in like the 3rd to the 5th round can be steals.
Yeah. What about receiver here? Is there any receivers? Like, I happen to really like Paris Campbell. I like AJ Brown. I like the other Campbell's teammate McLaurin. I think he's a stud, but I think he's going to be
He had a huge pro day.
I think he actually outshined Campbell in the pro day. Just as far as
he had like 5 sideline toe tapping catches.
It was his ability. He runs a little bit cleaner route. Now he's not quite the athlete, necessarily, but his route running looked to be a heck of a lot more sharp and precise. Comparing him just to Campbell at their pro days. So that's
wide receiver. My top is AJ Brown.
AJ Brown.
But my sleepers are guys like Andy Isabella.
I love Andy Isabella. Who's the other guy?
Hunter
Renfro. Oh, you mean the old man?
Out of Clemson. The little slot receiver, man.
You know what? He I think is going to make the Patriots a very happy guy.
I already had a feeling he was going to New England too.
I don't know why. He just seems like a Patriot guy. Just like Matt.
He is Wes Welker, Julian Edelman 3.0.
Yeah. And I can even see like Isabella being there. I know it's being kind of like, but those guys, that's the system. That's what they want. They want the smart guy that's quick and smart and makes the guy miss and move forward. And, I think a guy like that would be great for the Packers. And I know you like Kumaro.
There's another guy, too, coming out of North Carolina State. He was kind of mocked in the 1st round about 2 months ago, and all his other receivers started making noise. But Calvin Harmon of North Carolina State is a big receiver that can play in the slot.
I've seen people have him in a lot of mock drafts going to the Packers, and that the Packers, I've read a bunch of stuff from our Packers, our great Packers beat reporters. If you don't follow our Packers beat reporters, guys, I'm not going to sit here and go through the list of them. I think we all know
there's a handful of them that are amazing.
Right. Jason Wilde, Peter Brunekust. I know people don't like him at Cheesehead TV, but Aaron Nagler, even though he gets snippy
I love Nagler.
I think people are hard on Nagler. He's rough around the edges, but he's highly intelligent. And here's my one rule.
He has very dry humor. A lot of people don't get that.
Yeah, but if you're going to give people shit, you got to be able to take it. And he's gave me shit, and I gave it back to him. And he hasn't blocked me. He hasn't stopped talking to me. He doesn't stop. So to me, he's all good in my book. He can take it as well as he gives it. So I don't see why people are so down on him. And he does a good job. There's
one of my guys is Jersey Al. I love Jersey Al.
Jersey Al's a good too, and he works at Cheesehead TV too.
Yep.
Well, this went fast tonight, guys. We only got about 30 seconds left. I hope we covered enough for you. This is a lot of fun. I'm having fun. I think Dave's having fun.
Always having fun, especially when we get closer to the draft. It's my baby.
Right. And you guys, you can look us up, follow us on SoundCloud, Spotify. We're on Tumblr, Facebook, it's Packer J, First and Goal. Our Twitter is at First and Goal Pod. Like us, follow us, do all that stuff. Have a great night. Have a good weekend. We'll see you later.